there, and then there. Go ahead.
As a young person, I'm worried about the long-term effects of global warming. How does your plan combat climate change?
Well, you should be worried, and you know, I find as I travel around Iowa that it's usually young people who ask me about global warming. Sometimes it's really young children, 8 years old, who've been watching TV or maybe talking about it in school. And I think there's a couple of things we've got to do. We have to set a very firm target that we want to reach to lower the amount of greenhouse gas emissions that our country puts out. And I want to create what's called a cap and trade system, where we auction greenhouse gas emission applications to those companies and individuals and businesses that emit greenhouse gas emissions, because they have to start paying a price for it, because all the rest of us are paying a price. You know, climate change is not just about endangering polar bears. It's about droughts and wildfires and storms and many of the changes that are going on now around the world. And I think this cap and trade idea would be a good one to tackle it. But I want to be sure that, to go back to this gentleman's question, that we don't impose excessive costs on hardworking Americans. So I will use money from the auction of these permits to help defray the costs that might possibly be imposed, because I think the costs should not be passed on to consumers. The cost should be absorbed by shareholders and those who've made so many profits over so many years from these carbon-emitting companies. I think it's also important when it comes to global warming that we redouble and triple our efforts to do more on renewables, to do everything we can to try to get to more energy efficiency. You know, we could meet a lot of our energy projected demand if we were more energy efficient. And that will help us in a couple of ways. It'll cut prices for consumers, but it will also prevent us from emitting more greenhouse gas emissions. And I've got a whole plan about how to do that. So on my website is my very long speech from yesterday, which I'm not going to bore you with and repeat word for word. But for those of you who are especially interested in global warming, I hope you'll go on HillaryClinton.com and read the particulars. Now, this is going to take effort. It's going to take political leadership, but I think the time has come for us to do it. And I hope we can get behind it, because I think it's so important for the future of our economy and for our competitiveness and for the price of living that most people will have to have, as well as for what the effects are of global warming. Yes, are you two together?